So you guys may or may not know this, but I moved to New York when I was like 11 years old, and I was raised in New York until I was moved to Greenwich, Connecticut when I was 15. There's a whole story around this. I was a wild child, and that's in the Patreon under the Dana Wilkey Origin Story Part 1 if you want to go learn more about that. But New York is close to my heart, and my friends, I have many friends there, and I just want to say I hope you guys are okay. New York's in a state of emergency right now due to like a crazy rain that caused flooding. Let me play you a quick clip from Daily News. I know about New Yorkers, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and that's pretty much everybody's attitude. And New Yorkers will all help each other because that's what they do. But I just wanted to start this video, this recap of Real Housewives of New York, Season 14, Episode 12, with a shout out that we are all thinking about New York right now, that this crap gets over quick. All right, let's get started. So I saw this the other day pop up. It looks like they're opening a casting call for Real Housewives of New York City. This will be for season 15. Perhaps someone has quit, or perhaps they just want to add another wife to the group. But they are definitely actively looking right now. So I thought that was a little unusual this early in the game. We're only on the new reboot cast season 2 to already be bringing in new blood, but I guess they felt it necessary for some reason. So I'll let you guys think about what that could be. If you're from New York and you want to apply, just DM those casting people and show them how you're fit for the role. You can DM me for help. I'll tell you what to show to get casted. Unusually, class is not one of the things you need. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification button. And if you haven't gone into the podcast tab, the new tab, go in there and give a listen to the podcast, which is completely different content than the YouTube. It's finally in the YouTube, so you can hear it and see what it's all about. I hope you enjoy it. I put a lot of work into all my shows. I do all the writing myself. I get all the guests. I host them. I research them, and I edit them, and I promote them. Yep, only me. So we start off tonight's episode learning how absolutely terrible Pavit and Jessel's relationship is. They haven't had sex in over a year and a half. She realizes that they need to do some sort of staycation. He makes a joke about having a secret nanny so that he can plan the staycation for Jessel without her knowing. She's like, I know everything happening in the house, and he kind of implies that maybe she doesn't. And we also are still dealing with Jessel feeling like everybody thinks she's privileged, mainly Aaron, in her upbringing, and that no one seems to want to believe that she isn't privileged. But it really is centered around the fact that she isn't having sex with Pavit, and it almost seems like Pavit is cheating on her, really, if I was to say it. That's the buildup in this episode. Okay, just to show how bad things are between Jessel and Pavit, Brynn Whitfield sends a text message to Pavit and says, I'm wet, from Jessel, to try to get him turned on. And he came back with, well, I'll play it for you. Really hot, Pavit, really hot. Then we find ourselves at Henrietta Hudson with Jenna Lyons. She's single, and Brynn Whitfield goes as her wing woman. Jenna makes it pretty clear that she thinks Brynn Whitfield, although she says she's bisexual, isn't bisexual and is definitely straight. I thought that was an interesting kind of contradiction that occurs in this scene. Jenna Lyons is flirting with a much younger, very tall, very pretty lesbian lady. Brynn is trying to like flirt with this woman and I don't know, kind of get them to connect. She wants Jenna to be with a younger girl and kind of be the cougar. And Jenna's just kind of going along with it to be a good sport. They have like an awkward conversation, Jenna and this girl. And then the girl gives her number to Jenna and like walks away. Brynn sort of orchestrating or choreographing the whole thing. And then Jenna and Brynn play around on stage. This is the picture I'm showing. And Jenna gives dollar bills to one of the performers there. And then she gets on stage and Brynn kisses her stomach and puts money in her shirt. And that's that scene. Then we find ourselves on a double date. It's Cy and David and Aaron and Abe. This scene was so weird that I actually had to play it for you. So we're going to listen to it together.
I have a question for you two. If your wife did not have sex with you for a year and a half, what would happen? Like, what would happen? I would other women. Babe, oh my God.
It's not marriage isn't lasting.
I don't appreciate his candor right now. He's such a little What? Good to know. What if I'm like going through something? You'll be other women. A year
Exactly.
and a half. I'm just saying. Well, what would you do? That's a long time.
You want my answer?
Honestly.
The relationship would probably be over.
That's the better answer.
No.
That's the right answer.
His answer was a great answer. No, his answer was
My
answer was a consequence of
All right, so what does that tell you? Abe doesn't really value the sanctity of marriage. He values sex. And so Cy's husband's like, out of respect for the marriage, if my wife's not having sex with me, I'm just going to know the relationship is over and I'm going to end it. And Abe's was different. His reaction was, well, if I'm not having sex, then I'm just going to cheat on her. So kind of a separate thing to the marriage. That's not a great sign, just saying. I mentioned this last week. This is an awesome 1983 New York filter. Okay, listen.
My husband said the right answer. That is what a husband should say. I wouldn't have sex with another man.
Let's not go too far. Because we talked about this.
I know. We're not getting into it.
Are we not?
We're not getting into it. At one stage in our lives, maybe there will be a moment of... No, but then... Oh, you're into swinging. No, I'm not.
Not yet, but I think I could be in like 10 years.
Okay, so Aaron and Abe have had a conversation that in 10 years from now, if their love life sucks, that they are willing to swing. They will allow each other to have sex with other people, but they have certain rules that they want to set out to try to keep their marriage intact in the process. Good luck. All my friends that are swingers that are married, never works. They always end up broken up. But anyway, whatever. People can try. Okay, here we go.
Okay, we talked about having a threesome, and you said it would have to be 2 women. I don't want that. Yes, you did, because I said I want to have sex with another man then. Otherwise, it's not
And I
fair.
would be okay with it.
And you said you
as long
wouldn't
as it's in the same room.
No, you said you wouldn't be able to watch it. You said you wouldn't be able to watch it.
My rule would be this: we have to have it in the same room with people we don't know, like with people, like no friends, whatever, so that nothing's left to my imagination.
Jenna had a great idea. She said, if it's a gay man, then it's fine, because it's a gay man, and it's like, it's just sex. You want a gay guy, though? Yeah, if they're like middle of the road, yeah. What planet are we living on?
So I wouldn't be trusting my man around Aaron, and I wouldn't be trusting Abe around one of my housewife friends, just saying, based on this conversation. So Abe is saying, I don't mind if you have sex with another guy, but I have to be in the room so I can watch. So nothing is left to my imagination, like a relationship that might exist between, or an intimacy that might exist behind his back. I mean, this has got never working, totally toxic written all over it. But then Aaron offers this option of what about a gay guy who wouldn't really be into either of them, and so they wouldn't be jealous, and the gay guy would spice things up in the bedroom. I'll play it.
I will never be in a sexless marriage. In 10 years from now, if I'm having issues, bring in the gays, bring in a unicorn, bring in whoever, anything to get us going again, because I think intimacy is so important.
I mean, leave the unicorn out of it. Is nothing sacred? So then we get brought into Brynn Whitfield's world again. We're brought to a rare book place in New York, which is obviously popular. People love books in New York City and love to read. Brynn, I guess, is part of this club. She wants to buy a rare book with no pictures because she thinks those will be harder to find in the end, because people, she believes, tends to keep books that are ancient with illustrations over books with text. I don't think that that's necessarily the case. I think the more famous the book, probably the rarer the book is in terms of price. But this is Brynn's strategy. We see her do this. This is, again, Brynn Whitfield trying, I think, to show that, yes, she's a sex bombshell, but she's also got this bright side to her. Chess, rare books, you know, she's classic cars with her boyfriend. She turns men down that want to marry her. All of it is in a way to show that she isn't cliche, but in a way it comes off as even more cliche. Isn't that weird? Well, her brother calls and we get a touching phone call, which I did appreciate, about her Mimi who passed away. She's buying some sort of tree with a plaque in Central Park to honor her grandmother. I don't know what this offering is, but maybe there's something in New York that they're doing, dedicated tree to someone you love or something, or plant a tree and they put a plaque on it. But she's doing this program, whatever it is, and she wants to honor her Mimi. And I thought that was sweet and touching, and I get that because I loved my grandmother, my Nana, too. So then we go to a sound bath to get over all of our problems from Anguilla. Erin finds it too long. Sai thinks it's dumb and she doesn't need any fixing. The rest of the women find it nice. Uba finds it overly touching and she cries a lot, I think, missing her mother who's passed away and feeling lonely because she misses her mom. We see a softer side of Uba, but they make sure to drag Uba a little in the beginning. Funny enough, from Jenna Lyons, that Uba maybe loves herself a little too much. So then we get a taste of Jessel's sex night that she's going to have with her husband. You just get the sense that they have zero chemistry. Let me play you a clip.
We are in a rut, and it's normal. It's not a scandal. So this, my friend, is dessert.
Can we have real dessert though too?
Yeah, you can have like literally cowgirl. I'm like this.
Okay.
And then she would be like, it's like, oh, Kim, like that.
What the hell is happening here?
Jessel goes on her date to the Ritz-Carlton, and we're left to wonder, did in fact she have sex? The next day, she's 45 minutes late to meet Sai for a lunch that she invited her to that Sai didn't want to go to because Sai thinks Jessel's ridiculous and a liar and stupid. But Jessel convinces her to go and is late. So Sai is pissed, and she barely wants to even sit at this lunch. But she listens, and Jessel attempts to tell Sai that she has sex. Sai doesn't believe her. Brynn Whitfield thinks that actually they probably just got drunk and that was it. And Sai just basically says to Jessel, I know you're trying to connect with me and you're trying to move on in our friendship, but I don't care about you and I don't really want to be your friend. And she sort of exits the restaurant on that basis. Jessel cries, I guess, during this lunch, telling Sai about her uncle who was also an alcoholic, but Sai is just not accepting it because, like a typical New Yorker, she doesn't believe her. She thinks this is bullshit, and she's just not going to entertain it. And it's insulting to her with this, like, real upbringing, right? Like, don't try to bond with me on a basis that you're not even in the ballpark or the realm of understanding what I've been through. I get it. I get it. Well, the big bomb at the lunch is that Jessel tells Sai that her husband goes to Vietnam a lot. And of course, the first thing Sai thinks of, which Vietnam is so famous for, is the beautiful landscape. No, that he's cheating. So that's where the episode ends. What do you think? Like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. Comment below. What about this sex and swinging and unicorns, for crying out loud? All right. See you next week. We're coming to an end.